guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to a really exciting one today because I'm sat in an ALPINA B3 Touring. But before we carry on and I tell you a little bit more about this and how it drives, you'll notice I've got someone sat next to me.
Hello.
This is Alex from ALPINA in Nottingham, and if you want any more information on any ALPINA product, please use the link in the description of this video and Alex is your man. Now, let's get cracking with, well, what's ALPINA? So my understanding of it is kind of that, I mean, is it a tuning company? Is it a manufacturer? Sort of what is ALPINA?
So yeah, it's an interesting time for ALPINA at the minute because you know historically they have been a tuning company and then they were granted their own manufacturer status by the German equivalent of the DVLA.
Cool.
So they are classed as their own manufacturer at this moment in time.
Yep.
But we will very soon be joining the team at BMW as well, as they've just acquired the company.
Nice. So that's sort of so this car. Let's move on to this car. If you're an avid viewer of the channel, you saw maybe my walk around of the ALPINA showroom, and I had sort of touched briefly on some of the products. But today we're driving one, and I've been really excited about driving this car to really try and understand what it is. So this, quite obviously, is a 3 Series Touring. It's based on a 3 Series Touring.
Yeah.
So how does a 3 Series Touring go from a 3 Series Touring into a B3? What do ALPINA do? Do they just take an empty shell, or like how do they do it?
So there's a feu different bits and pieces with this car as well, some differences here. So as you've probably seen from the exterior, it looks very similar to a 340i.
Yeah, it's quite discreet, I think. That's the thing for me with ALPINA, is they're very discreet, aren't they? There's a few subtle differences, so like the bumpers and stuff like that. The wheels, I think, are the biggest giveaway.
Yeah, so you've got the obviously aerodynamic body kit. That's one of the things that ALPINA do. So they have the new front splitter on here as well, a different rear diffuser, which you will have noticed at the back, and of course the ALPINA decals. Yeah,
quad pipes as well. I noticed those on the back.
Yeah. So they are they're synonymous with the ALPINA brand as well. Sort of paying homage to their racing history as well.
Got you.
But I guess the key mechanical differences between this is to a 340i is the fact that it actually has the S58 M3 engine in it.
Okay, so it's the proper M.
Yeah.
Do they do? Is it slightly? I'm guessing it's not like for like. No, it's not exactly the same.
Not like for like. So tuned down for horsepower, but it does produce more torque.
Okay.
So it also has smaller turbos as well to prevent turbo lag.
Yep.
Another thing, and then they have a completely different suspension system, which is designed with ALPINA and IBAC as well. The brakes, again, working with Brembo and ALPINA to manufacture their own brakes, which are a little bit different to what you'd find on an M car.
Feels really smooth.
Yeah, it's very.
So straight away, my biggest thing that I can sort of, it's hard. Where would you pitch? How would you? Going into this experience, how would you? I'm trying to work out what I should sort of not compare this to, but sort of liken it to. Would you say it's an M3, or would you say it's more an M340i, like sort of, or do you actually think it sits bang in between the two?
Somewhere in between, yeah. So obviously, the M3 is a more track-driven, track-focused car, isn't it?
Whereas, that definitely feels harsher than this.
Yeah.
This has got, I can tell straight away, a really smooth, sort of calming edge to it. It feels much more of a smooth, sort of softer experience. Yeah, just driving like this.
That's it. So ALPINA's philosophy these days is to build the everyday dream car. Nice. So it's something that's usable on country roads like this. Yeah. You know, not getting any better in the UK, are they?
No, they never do. The roads are awful. If you're a viewer and you're not in the UK, you won't know what we mean, but they're awful, aren't they? Yeah. They're so bad, our roads. Yeah. But it feels like, especially on a road like this, there's quite a lot of camber, quite a lot of undulations, quite a lot of potholes, really. It feels like it's just managing them just so well. So are the dampers different?
The dampers are different, yeah, as well.
It feels, I mean, when you look at the wheels, especially, and you think, oh, they're a bit big, you think it's going to be a bit crashy. It's not.
No, you almost expect it to be a little bit harder on the big 20s that it's on at the minute, but it's not. It's incredibly smooth.
And that's sort of, I think, is translated into the way that the steering feels as well. I'm guessing the steering is slightly tweaked as well from like a 340i.
Yeah, the steering's been reprogrammed by ALPINA as well. A couple of other things that you'll notice as well, where the M3 seems to almost be poised and ready to go all the time. This is, again, the reprogrammed ZF gearbox as well.
Yeah.
So you'll feel the way that it works with all of that torque, as well as it's sort of silky smooth through the gears.
I was about to mention that the M3 almost feels like it's always straining at the leash. Like the latest generation M3 is a fabulous thing to drive, both when you're cracking on or when you're driving it every day. But it does always feel like it's always just like, come on then, let's go. Whereas this, definitely, you can definitely feel that slightly different state of tune. It feels just so much calmer and sedate and more relaxed when driving it like this. But of course, this is an Alpina, so in my head, it's got to be quick, hasn't it?
Yeah.
What sort of, I mean, what's sort of 0 to 60 and stuff like? How fast is this thing?
So it is 0 to 60 times are very similar to what you'd find in the M3. So you're looking under 4 seconds, and it's very capable of sort of reaching those speeds at a steady pace as well with how everything works. What you will find though is that because Alpina's
just going to spin around because that road's really nice.
That's all right. Because Alpinas are, well, such limited production of the Alpinas.
Yeah.
They don't have to.
I noticed that little plaque down here.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
So this is 1001.
1001.
1001. If you do end up buying this car at some point. Because they manufacture such limited numbers of cars, they don't have to abide to the same agreements as larger manufacturers.
Oh, yeah.
So they don't have speed limiters on. So this will go over 155 miles an hour.
Nice.
This will get close to about 190. So
okay. Let's see then. So if I put the gearbox into sport, just drop it into manual, let's put the car into sport, and let's just see sort of. I like that it's got a different display in front of me as well. Very unique
the Alpina
to
blue
Alpina.
And green racing.
Yeah, it picks up its feet rather well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The gearbox is still, when you put it into sport, still feels quite, well, really responsive, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's mad how it's gone from being a very sort of relaxed, silky, smooth gearbox, and then when you want it to, it changes so quickly.
It's a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah, that's
almost,
a great way of describing it. I think, especially, I mean, the way that it looks. I mean, Alpina, I suppose, probably appeals to a slightly different sort of customer, sort of client, because, I mean, the M3 looks leery all the time, doesn't it? I mean, this is more. Yeah, it's got some. It's got some smile on your face. It's got some pace, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It sounds great as well. Not quite as raw and raucous as an M3.
You can tell it's the M3
but
engine.
Yeah, you can definitely tell it's the M3 engine. But strangely enough, I just want to drive it more in comfort and just sort of relax. And that, I think that more torque has really changed the characteristics of the engine in the car. It feels almost like you just want to have a surge of power and sort of build the speed quite gradually, rather than the M3 where you're just absolutely nailing it all the time.
Yeah.
It feels fabulous.
Yeah.
It feels really good.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing.
Are there any differences inside? I noticed obviously the Alpina logo directly in front of me, some slightly different paddles. Stitching, that's slightly different, and then other than that, it feels very familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah, so a couple of things that you pointed out there. The CNC milled paddles with the Alpina
they are
stamped
lovely.
onto them. Yeah, they're obviously bespoke to Alpina, and then you've got the Lavallina steering wheel. Lavallina is used only by Rolls-Royce and Alpina in the automotive industry, but it's a certain type of leather.
It does feel different.
Yeah, sometimes people comment and say it feels a little bit thicker as well.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Almost softer and thicker, I would say.
Yeah.
Feels really nice.
Yeah.
But no, I think the car feels really. It feels special. I mean, wolf in sheep's clothing is probably the best way that you can describe this thing.
Yeah.
I think the spec on this car looks fantastic as well. With what colour is this on the outside?
This is Alpina blue.
Alpina blue. So it looks like almost like Phytonic blue, doesn't it, in a way?
Yeah, we said that when we were shooting.
Yeah.
We were saying, the Alpina blue and Alpina green are the two colours that are bespoke to the Alpina brand.
Yeah.
Again, very interesting colours when you see them in person.
Yeah.
Alpina blue almost has a purple metallic hue to it.
Okay.
Alpina green, when you see it, it changes from like green to black, and it has a bluey tinge in it sometimes when the sunlight's beaming down. Yeah, very nice colours.
Yeah. Well, I think this thing is absolutely fantastic, and thank you for taking me out for a drive in it, and yeah, just educating me a little bit on what Alpina is.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I said before, I mean, my thoughts on this car is it feels almost M without M, if that makes sense. It feels like a really good halfway house between a 340i and an M3. It's a really good alternative if you want something a little bit more subtle, a little bit more bespoke, but still with the ferocious speed and pace that you get from an M car.
Yeah.
I think it's a great thing, and if you want any more information, as I've already said at the start, get in touch with this man. He'll sort you out, absolutely. Thank you ever so much for watching, guys. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel. If you've got any more questions on Alpina, pop them in the comments, and I'll do my very best to answer them. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again very soon.